guys! Hi, my name is Mallory Bartow. Welcome to my channel where we talk about engineering, women in engineering, and why those two things need to be more connected. We're doing our Engineering Gal Pal of the Month today, and it is Debbie Sterling. And be sure to stay toward the very end where we talk about what she is doing today and some advice and tips that she has for women of all careers and all backgrounds. Stay tuned. So Debbie Sterling is a personal hero of mine. She's been inspiring me since the moment I found out about her. She's a mechanical engineer, and she graduated from Stanford University in 2005. She's now a CEO and been named Time's Person of the Moment and Business Insider 30 Women Who Are Changing the World. So how did she get to this point? So Debbie grew up just like most girls did. She played with girly toys and dolls and like doing princess things, but her aunts would squeeze her and say, "Oh, Debbie, you're just so smart, you're so lucky." And she would say that she'd be disappointed because she's like, "No, I want to be beautiful. I want to be a princess because all my dolls are princesses and they're all beautiful, and that's what I want to be like." So she remembers being disappointed, like most girls would be. They want to be beautiful just like their dolls are. And so Debbie grew up and she excelled in elementary school and high school. And it was about time for her to graduate and go into college. And it was her, one of her teachers who was writing her a recommendation. And she was like, "What do you want to do so I can put on the recommendation?" And Debbie didn't know. And the teacher was like, "Why don't you go into engineering?" And she had a reaction just like most people would. She was like, "Ew." No, she pictured, you know, an engineer driving a train with some straw in his mouth and dirt on his face. Or like a Mark Zuckerberg type, you know, very nerdy, smart looking white male. And she didn't look like that. And she was different. And so she felt like she couldn't be an engineer. But that stuck with her. And she found herself in a mechanical engineering 101 type class, expecting to hate it until she got in the class. And they were building things and they were making catapults out of paper clips, and she loved it. She was like, "Wait a second, this isn't what I thought it was." And so she started developing a love for this and really got passionate about engineering. But there's one thing that she noticed that I noticed in a lot of my classes, and this is 15 years later, the lack of women in all the classes. And again, she always used this term, says, "I don't belong." And that's how she felt. She doesn't belong. But she powered through it. She had a few classes where she struggled. The ones where she struggled the most were the ones that involved the spatial skills. Those were the ones that she struggled with. Because whenever she was growing up, she didn't grow up with Legos or any of those building block type things. She read books and did what most girls did, you know? So the guys had an advantage, and it was because those spatial skills were underdeveloped, just like most girls are, because that's not what they're growing up doing. Okay, so you may be thinking right now, well, girls just aren't as good in math, and that's why there's not as many of them. In that voice, that's what you're thinking, right? No. Debbie got this too. She was wondering, she would tell these people like, "Well, there's just not as many women," and they would say, "Well, girls just aren't good at math. They don't like math. They don't want to be in engineering." And she was like, okay. But then there's this study that she found, and it's a worldwide study, and they gave this test to a bunch of boys and girls, same test, and in every country except one, the girls tested higher than the guys in mathematics and those type courses. And guess which one it was? The one that did not follow the trend was America. And so to her, that suggested that this is not a biological thing, but actually a cultural thing. So Debbie started thinking, you know, at this point, she graduated college, she made it through, and she's trying to find her passion. You know, she feels like she has so many quotes where she's talking about, you know, find your passion and follow it. And so basically, Debbie's trying to find her passion, and she's going after this and that. She's working and interning and trying to prove herself as an engineer. And one day they were playing cards with some of her engineering friends, and so her friend was basically like, I mean, I grew up playing with construction toys and things like that, and that's why I love engineering. And that kind of like rang a little bell for Debbie, and it kind of clicked in her mind, and she basically had this idea that's like, okay, if young girls play with toys that are not the stereotypical ones, maybe when they grow up, they won't have this block or not have an interest in this, and we could change that kind of cultural norm in America. And so she decided to do a crazy thing. She decided to tackle the pink aisle. So what I mean by that is the toy aisle. When you walk down, it's the most, I mean, I haven't been, honestly, in Toys R Us, well, it's closed now, or a toy aisle in a long time. But at least for my memory is that it's very polarizing. You have the girl stuff, it's like pink everywhere. Maybe some purple. I like purple when I was younger. But you've got makeup kits and Polly Pockets. I had Bratz and all those different things that we love to play with. And the guys' side, you have construction toys, trucks, very masculine things, Nerf guns. And yes, there was a few girls, like my sister, she loved to play with Nerf guns. There were some girls that liked to switch over back and forth, but it didn't make them, they were called a tomboy. You know, it was definitely like outside of the norm. So Debbie was trying to find a way to make it normal and make it something that a girl doesn't have to feel like she's different by playing with this, but at the same time, she's developing those spatial skills and those skills that you get whenever you play with construction toys. She decided to come up with GoldieBlox. And she got a lot of pushback. They said, construction toys for girls don't sell. And she's like, maybe they're right. I don't know. But she decided to keep pushing through, and she put her idea and product on Kickstart with a goal, which she reached in 4 days. And past that, and she was able to get her first shipment in, and the reaction was incredible because she had parents coming out of the woodwork saying, oh my gosh, like, thank you so much. Like, my daughter is so much more than just a princess. You know, thank you so much for giving us the opportunity to buy a toy for our daughter that we want to buy. And she had it's got such amazing feedback from it. So she decided to start this company, and she, since then, has been wildly successful. So Debbie Sterling is now the CEO of Goldie Blox. And Goldie Blox is just this cute little girl that is girly and feminine, but she also likes to make dunk tanks and magic machines and basically just simple machines that are like the basis of engineering and a lot of engineering principles, but are marketed in a way that are interesting to girls, and also they come with books. So in Debbie's research, she found that when the girls were asked, like, pick up your favorite toy, they'd always grab a book and they'd be like, here, let's read. And so Debbie was like, okay, I've got to find a way to combine these two things. I've got to find a way to combine reading things that these girls love right now with these spatial skills. And so she came up with this book. It's interactive, and it's all about Goldie Blox solving these problems, and you solve them with her by building these different parts, and it's fun and interactive. The Goldie Blox has been doing amazing. It's in retail stores around the US, Canada, the UK, Australia. And one of my favorite quotes from Debbie is a very popular one, and it's, there's nothing wrong with being a princess. We just think that girls can build their own castles too. But the core of Debbie's company is all about diversity. So yes, her goal was to get more women in engineering, but that's because there are studies that show the more diverse a group, the better the outcome. So the more diversity within that group, the better. So because of that, Debbie has, especially in the past few years, put in a lot of initiatives to diversify. Now she has Ruby Rails, and it's an African-American young woman, and you know, she is super good at coding. And you have Lee Gravity, and he is a physicist, and they're doing so many fun things together and tackling all these problems. And it's all about diversity and multiple people from different backgrounds coming together. Okay, so what is Debbie Sterling doing today? So her big push is now taking the focus of her corporation off of the toys itself and more onto entertainment and media. Okay, so she started a YouTube channel called Hack Along with Goldie, and it's basically her just programming and doing all these fun things. But they also have Robot Runaway, which is like a reality TV show that they're launching. And so they're kind of going more into the entertainment field and kind of making it more mainstream. Not just like a toy that the kids play with, but something they can watch on TV, watch on their computer. It's pretty awesome. Okay, so like I promised, these are tips that Debbie has said for all people of backgrounds, not just engineering or STEM. But number one is, she says, if you're going to start a business, make sure it is something you're so passionate about. You need to be obsessed with it, because whenever people come and they start, poking holes in your idea and saying, trying to tear you down, like, no, it's not going to work, you have to be so passionate and so confident in it that it doesn't matter. Like, you want to do it anyways, even if it fails horribly. She says that's like one of the biggest things. So after you find your passion, she said the next step is just to share it with everyone. Share it with the waiter at the restaurant or the lady sitting at the park bench. But she says that, share with everyone, because honestly, if you're that passionate about it, you want to, and then also you don't know who you're talking to. Your Lyft driver, she says, might be the nephew of a business mentor that you want to follow. So the next tip that Debbie has for all of us is basically to not be afraid to be vulnerable and to ask for help. She first learned this whenever she was in college. She found that it was much easier whenever she asked for help. And she also found that this worked best whenever she was also the CEO. Whenever she was vulnerable and honest and open with her employees and also the media and all those different people, it turned out better for her at the end, because it didn't come off as this, fake, perfect, super confident white male CEO stereotype. It was more of the, hey, like, this is me, I'm vulnerable, I'm being who I am, being honest with you. The audience was much more receptive of what she was saying whenever she was doing that. Okay, so Debbie's next tip is to make your own luck. Do not wait around for it. If you have a passion, if you don't have a passion, if you have a goal, whatever it is, just act on it. Take advantage of every little opportunity, and luck will eventually line up with your hard work, but don't wait for it. So do you guys love Debbie as much as I do? Comment below and let me know if you have any ideas of women that are in engineering or STEM that are making a difference in this world that you would love for me to talk about, highlight. If you want to know more about a certain woman, I would love to hear about it. And then also be sure to subscribe, like this video, let me know what you guys think. Once again, my name is Mallory Bartow. Thank you guys so much for watching my video. Please come back again next week, next Wednesday. See you guys later.